Have you guys been practicing your inverted thrusters just in case they come up in the open? We're going to talk about thruster versus kipping handstand push-up and the correlations and the reason why I think that you should approach the kipping handstand push-up in the order that I'm going to lay out for you, as opposed to some things that I see. We're going to get to it, but we're going to talk about the different parts of the thruster because that's kind of a skill that has a little bit more clarity to it for most people. We're going to start from the top and work our way down through the descent, okay? We're going to start here at point 1, go 2, 3, and 4. We're going to use that with the kipping handstand push-up. It's a position we're all familiar with, hopefully. This is when the rep counts. Your arms are completely locked out, your head is pushed forward, your hips are in line, and you are just completely fully extended, and that is the end of your thruster. So from this position, we're going to call that extension. As we move into part 2, you're going to notice that when the bar starts coming down, that you actually break in the hips just a little bit. You don't want to bring the bar down and have it clunk you in the shoulders and then start squatting, right? We want to kind of try to accept the weight. So as the bar is coming down, we're going to move our head out of the way. We're going to break our hips and our knees, and that gets us into this position, ready to accept the weight. Then, so this is the break in the hips prior to the load, and the load being the barbell in this circumstance. And then, as the load hits you in the shoulders, as the barbell drops into position in the front rack, we're going to go to the accepting the load phase, and that is softly, okay? We don't want to clunk it down on our shoulders. We want to catch it, kind of like a wall ball, right? You don't want it to hit you in the face. You just bring it in with you when you come down into the squat. So as we hit this position, the barbell makes contact with the front of the shoulder, the knees and the hips start bending a little bit more, and then we move into step 4, which is completely loaded, okay? So that means that we've got all our body into the deepest position that we have, and we're going to spring up out of that, all right? So pretty straightforward for the thruster. That should be pretty familiar with all you guys. If not, then you should probably do your checklist. Make sure that you're not dropping the barbell on your shoulders prior to bending your knees. Now we're going to start with the kipping handstand push-up because this does come up in the open. And even though I'm not necessarily a fan, and Invictus in general, we try to do more strict handstand push-ups because honestly, they're faster. Okay, you have a smaller range of motion, you've got less body parts moving around. If you guys can do strict, that's great. Nail them, get through them. But we know that this is going to be a thing that you're going to use, especially when you run out of strength and you still have reps left. So we're going to go into this. And now keep in mind, as I've mentioned before, elite level athletes will not do the same as us regular folk, right? So some of them, they'll just be like pounding their head into the floor, just small kicks, and just going for like speed, right? Well, they also have really strong necks. So for the majority of the populations, this is the way that I like people to approach the kipping handstand push-up, and it is for safety and for fluid movement and just all-around performance, okay? So 1, again, starting with the extension. We're completely extended. Notice that you do flex your feet. If you've done any of the opens with handstand push-ups and you've got that line you got to get your heels over, drive your heels up. Good habit to get into. Okay, so we're fully extended, shoulders are open, hips are forward, head is through. That is the highest, most lengthed out position that we can be in. Now, as we start to descend, this is where I think people can usually make the most improvements. I like the butt to hit the wall. I want your butt to make contact with the wall on your way down, and then you start bending the knees before accepting the load, right? So this is breaking hips prior to load. So as you're dropping down, your butt hits the wall. And really what this is going to do is it's going to distract some of this weight, this leg weight that's coming down. It's not going to be bearing straight down through your spine onto the top of your head. And this is where I feel like, again, safety is going to be a lot better here, okay? So as we start dropping down, we have bend in the hips, bend in the knees, arms are bending, loads coming in. Now we're not waiting for the floor to hit us in the shoulders because it's a handstand push-up, so it goes to the top of the head. So your head is essentially what your shoulder would be in the thruster, and it's going to accept the load. So once your head makes contact, you bend even more. And so that is accepting the load softly with the legs. You may question whether the legs are helping this become soft, but really once your head hits the floor, if you bring your legs down really quickly, like you would drop into, squat for a thruster, it's the weight of your legs, it's still free falling. And so that weight is not pressing down into your upper body and into your neck and head. Okay, so as you make contact with your head, bringing the knees down quickly will actually lighten the amount of immediate impact on your head and your neck, making this a safer position. And then step number 4, completed loading position. You'll notice that the butt, I don't know if I drew this well enough, but the butt is now slightly off the wall, because once you get down into a handstand push-up and your knees come forward, your back will round, and so your lower back will actually be what's touching the floor, touching the wall, and your knees will be below the hips, feet will be off the wall. This will also help you kip up out of it, but that's not this tutorial. Once your knees are down, you're in this position, it should be relatively safe. One more thing that I want to point out is the legs started here and then they slowly moved further away, and that also keeps some of the pressure off of your neck. Okay, so that is the relationship between a thruster and the inverted thruster, the kipping handstand push-up. And if you guys have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I hope this has been helpful for you.